We haven't seen Balkeo, Nicky, but placed twice over in France. What's he been showing you?
He's a lovely big horse. I love him. He reminds me of Lammy Surge when he first arrived here. Big, tall, imposing, sort of chasing type of horse that hadn't won his Novice Hurdle at Auteuil. And I think Lammy had been second 4 or 5 times. Balkeo's been second twice. In what I think look very respectable races. But the beauty is he's a Novice Hurdler for this year, and you'd like to think he'd go chasing next year. No, I think he's rather an exciting horse. He's good to look at anyway.
And a mare I know who you've always held in very high regard is GRAN Luna. And what's the plan with her for this year?
Well, yeah, she was disappointing last year. I thought she was going to be very good, but she seems in good order at the moment. So we'll just, I mean, she could win a Novice Hurdle yet. So we'll concentrate on that.
So let's talk then about last year's bumper horses. Jonbon, a record 570 grand at the Yorton Sale last year. Very impressive, as many people expected he would be at Newbury. You were patient with him. He must really sort of get you excited, looking forward to what he can show this year.
Well, he does. I hope he'll sort of lose this price tag thing sooner or later in life, because every time he runs, everybody starts saying, yeah, but he cost 5, you know, it doesn't matter what he cost. But that's a tag that he's got to live with. It's not his fault.
But does he show you a horse that is worth that much, or should have cost that much?
Yes.
So we're going to win the Supreme then, yeah?
Why not?
But, you know, you do feel that he could be one of your best novices this year.
Yeah.
Okay. And what does he show you that makes you think that?
He's grown into a magnificent horse through the summer. You know, he had a tough time when he came over. He'd run in his point to point, and then he came over to the sales. You get vetted and this, that, and the other. By the end of that, by the time he got back here, he didn't look great. And we sort of put him back together quite quickly, which was credit to him. And he took a fair bit of time to settle down. He doesn't like new things. New things fuss him. So you've got to stick to his routine. Now he's back in it. He's loving it. He jumps beautifully. I mean, he was so well educated at home. He is capable of getting himself in a bit of a fluster. You know, and I say, you've got to be a bit careful with him. I mean, I wouldn't have won him in that bumper if I didn't think I wasn't going to make a fool of myself or him. So it was a relief to see him do it, but it was obviously no surprise. You just hope he's got everything. He's a full brother to Duvin. He's got speed. He's got jumping. He goes in any ground. You're not going to run him on fast ground.
How far off a run is he?
He's done plenty. We've had no hiccups, but I've not been in any great rush because of the weather. So we'll just see. I mean, he's obviously, you can imagine where he's going to start in one of those sort of Newbury type novice hurdles that we've used for most of them.
Another horse who's 1 from 1 in bumpers is Maximus in what was subsequently turned out to be an extremely good national flat race. Of course, beat My Drogo. We didn't see him, did we, after he won that race at Cheltenham? How's he been in the interim?
Great. Well, actually, after the race, he went back to Henrietta Knights for a bit of a break, and then he came back in, and things went wrong, and then we were all ready to go elsewhere. I couldn't see Aintree being the right place for him. I don't see why not, really, but we hammed it out a bit, and Cheltenham certainly wasn't. As you know, I'm not a great fan of that Cheltenham bumper. And so he finished up, he didn't run again, but he was in training, and he's back in training, he's working, jumps beautifully. So it's just straight over hurdles. It's 2 miles and off we go.
WISEGUY won a bumper at Doncaster on pretty soft ground. Again, just the one run, you put him away after that, and he looks $1 million today, doesn't he?
He does. I mean, he was a big, weak, tall horse last year, and he really wasn't ready for anything much more than just the one run. But he did it very well, and there are quite a lot in this same ship, and I think, whereas we said last year we thought that the novice chasers were the strong department, I think the strong department, I'm hoping the strong department this year is going to be the novice hurdlers. And there's quite a good little package of them.
So how confident are you that Fire Step can put his best foot forward?
Very good. Yeah, he's another of those that he could be anything, to be honest with you. Run twice, won twice, and away we go. He jumps very, very well. Never get a run on fast ground, but it'd go on anything else. He might benefit for another half a mile. We've got to try and split, well, I hope we split them up somehow. It's nice to have as many as there are so that they can sort of go into different pigeonholes.
Balkeo Coastal was very impressive in an all-weather bumper, and then what were your thoughts on his run in the Aintree bumper?
I don't know. I mean, we ran about 5 in those two, the mares and the geldings bumper and Aintree. They all ran shocking. I don't know. I mean, on what he showed at Kempton, you thought he was a certainty at Aintree, but he didn't show up at all. But he's back. He's in very good form. He's obviously very good. But he hasn't schooled yet, actually, but we schooled him at the back end. He was very, very good.
And Doddy the Great, another one, 2 from 2 in bumpers. How good do you think this was?
Yeah, that was lovely. Again, a big, raw horse. I was amazed that he was even ready to win 1. I didn't think he'd take 2, but he came out again. We had to give him a fair bit of a break between the 2. But he's undoubtedly a talented horse. Lovely big horse. Very much like all the other. The great thing is these are all chasers. They're literally all chasers. So hopefully this time next year we will be talking again, and hopefully this time next year we'll be talking about the novice chasers being the strength of the squad, because if these go and have a good season novice hurdling, they're all going to be going novice chasing the following year.
Blair Gary had a couple of runs in bumpers, finishing 3rd on each of them, and again a nice big horse.
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have easily won 1. Probably should have won 1. Instead, he was very promising in all of them.
Hobhouse.
Yeah, he could be very special. We gave him 1 bumper, and he's a very big horse. Quite raw last year, quite wild when he started. He settled down a lot. He's very amenable now. So, I mean, he could be anything.
Broomfield BURG carries the colours of JP. I know he was well fancied when he made his debut, but was much too keen. But you obviously settled him down because he's won 2 races since. Yeah,
You'd like to think he's top class. I think we all thought he'd win his bumper at Newbury first time out, and he ran horribly keen. And then we left him alone until the spring. He won a bumper at Southwell, I think, wasn't it? And then a little novice hurdle. It was all just to get him, to teach him to settle and relax. He's a very, very pacey horse and a load of talent.
KINCARDINE carries the colours of the Queen.
I like him a lot. I think he's probably one of the nicest horses we've had for the Queen for a long time. Well, I'm glad to say Keen On is back in action, who missed last year. And I mean, I was always very, very keen on him. So we've got Keen On and KINCARDINE and a nice Blue Brazil mare, Blue Heaven, and 1 or 2 others. A very nice team for Her Majesty. So she's had a wonderful flat season. So let's hope we can continue the jumping one.
We saw Mine Sunday absolutely bolt up in a bumper at Newbury on her first run for you. Sort of a proper eye catcher. Then again, as you said, a lot of your horses ran disappointing in those bumpers at Aintree. Did anything come to light after that?
No, not really. No, I mean, he was very, very impressive. She, very impressive. Yeah. No, I mean, I think she's pretty smart.
Okay, Russian Ruler. I know a lot of people, we've spoken to a few lads and they're saying this could be one to follow for the season.
Well, there you go. I mean, again, fits into exactly the same slot as all those others. Had 1 run, was impressive. Lovely big horse by Sholokov. Massive chasing type of horse. He'll go through his novice hurdles. Could be anything. He's in the top drawer anyway.
What about Moe Mo? Very impressive in an extraordinary race at Chepstow.
And again, it all went wrong at Aintree. That was amazing at Chepstow. I mean, it wasn't just amazing sort of horsemanship from James Bowen's point of view, because, as you remember, his right rein broke before they'd even passed the winning post, but with a circuit to go. And to get him round that bottom bend, which many, many horses have run out on that bottom stable bend. So to get rounded on one rein was quite a feat. He did go out there, took him right to the far rail, up the hill, under the trees. He managed to get him back through the dolls, down the back straight, by which time he was in front again because he'd no control. It was soft ground, the horse just galloped merrily away. And you thought, well, surely they're going to get to him now and then there's nothing he can do. He didn't, he just galloped off without them. It was an amazing performance. Again, I think he's pretty good. But I say he was disappointing at Aintree, but we've got to get those Aintree bumpers out of our minds. I think, and just forget about them.
What about Walking on Air?
He's gorgeous, mighty big machine. Out of a very good mare, Refinement, that Michael Tabor owned himself. So Walking on Air is a homebred. Not surprised about Walk in the Park. He's a gorgeous, gorgeous horse. I mean, he's of all the horses that should have won a bumper, it really should have been him. And he went to win his bumper at Kempton, went clear, and an authorised gelding of Gary Moore's came past him like nothing on earth. I mean, nobody could understand how he got beaten, except the other horse must be a mighty machine, because Walking on Air is pretty good. But never mind, he got beaten in his bumper, so what? It was just a bit of a shock at the time that something went past him that easily. But he did nothing wrong, and he's a great big, just a lovely horse.
So again, a similar sort of question of last year's horses that ran in bumpers. Which is the one that you really cannot wait to see over timber this year? Forget next year over fences. Which is the one to be concentrating on this season?
You can only, as I say, I think that's where we're very lucky. All that bunch, they are lovely, lovely horses, all ready to go chasing in a year's time.
But they've got to win a few hurdle races before.
But they've got to win these hurdle races. You could put them in an order and everybody would get the order wrong. I mean...
But is there one that scored and you just thought, you know, he's a
well, the Jonbons and the Fast Steps and the I Am Maximus is probably... I don't know. I mean, I think you could have Balkeo Coastal, you could have Broomfield BURG. I love Walking on Air. I mean, I love them all. I don't know. Hopefully 1, 2 or 3 of them are going to come to the top. Be disappointing if 1 or 2 don't.
How difficult a challenge is it for you as a trainer when you say you get all these horses that at the moment are all pretty much exactly the same? What do you have to see in them to think, okay, that one's ready, that one's not, we'll give that one a little bit longer, or that one wants soft grind, that one wants fast grind? It must make your job pretty hard at times.
Well, it's nice to have a sort of the strength of depth that we appear to have at the moment. They've all got to stay sound, everything's got to go right, and they've all got to find their races. It's easy to find novice hurdles, than it is to find novice chases. So if all of them get through this year unscathed and go novice chasing next year, I really will have a headache because there won't be enough novice chases for them. But at the moment, luckily, they're novice hurdling. So you can go anywhere, really. But again, they're all big horses, so they won't be going, they're going to have to go to proper tracks.